Why is it that no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you work, no matter the strategy and the tactics that you use, you keep coming back to the same position that you've been in your business, in your relationships? If this is happening to you, my friend, this is because you are in an energetic or a quantum loop. And in this video, I'm going to show you specifically what that quantum loop is, how to break it, because I've done this with over 500 men, and why it is happening in the first place. So 4 weeks ago, over 500 men came to me. These were men who were already strong, but they wanted to become stronger in their life. They wanted to get to the next level. And they had tried the tactics, they had tried the strategies, but for some reason, it wasn't really clicking. And so they said, hey, we really want to figure out how to do this. That was part of one of my signature processes that I created. We even had one of the guys who had built $1 billion business, but he still crashed. And he's going, I don't even understand why this is happening. When we went through this process, which I'm going to detail into you today, literally we had hundreds of men who shifted within 21 days. And the reason for that was because I looked at them and said, I am not going to take you through a strategy process because you already have strategy. I'm not going to share tactics with you. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to show you fundamentally why the reason you're looping is because of your energetic capacity. And that's a very similar process I'm going to outline for you today. The first thing you need to know is that before you can have anything in the physical reality, before you can manifest anything, you have to first be able to acquire it in the energetic realm. This goes for the woman, this goes for the deep connection, this goes for the business, this goes for the friendship and relationships. It's all connected to your energetic capacity to acquire that thing energetically first. So before we even look at the strategies and the tactics, you need to be going to the fundamental base layer, which is your energetic capacity. And if that's all that you take from this video, congratulations, because you've gotten something that's going to shift you. But if you want to understand what the quantum pattern actually is, why it's happening, how to break it, then make sure to subscribe and stay for the rest of the video, because that's exactly what we're going to go through. Now, question, what is a quantum pattern? A quantum pattern is any cycle that you've been going through in your life, or any cycle that keeps repeating itself in your life, no matter how much you try to break it. This could look like you in your business, where you put in the funnels, you put in the system, you put in the acquisition channel, but for some reason, whenever you get to the top, whenever you have some level of success, something happens to crash it. This could look like in relationships, where you do everything to get the woman or to have deep intimacy with your woman, but it keeps slipping from your hands. Something happens to sabotage it. I had this in my own life. That's how I realized it. Because there was a time when I hit one of my most successful days ever. I hit a target that most people try to hit in 2 years. I hit it in 1 day. And the moment I achieved that target, something happened and I crashed. Literally, one of my employees left and I fell sick immediately. And I went, And I saw this pattern repeat over and over again. This also happened with one of my clients who his pattern was he would get to $400,000 and crash. He could never break $400,000. That was what's happening. What you need to do in this video now, as you watch this video, is you need to ask yourself and go over the last few years, where have you had a repeating pattern in your life, no matter how much you try? Because that is the sign that there is something deeper energetically that's going on that strategy would never solve. And that's what we want to go into today. So now you understand what a quantum pattern is. I now want to go into why it's happening. And the first thing here is to understand that it's not inherently bad that this pattern is looping. Why? Because life, the universe, the world is actually trying to give you every single thing that you want. The only problem is that life only speaks in experiences. It only speaks in patterns. It can only show you and help you experience the thing that it's trying to show you, because it cannot talk to you like I'm talking to you. And so when life has moments where you go up and then you crash immediately, what it's trying to show you is that there is something at the bottom, that point where you crash, that you need to solve, that you need to release from your life, that you need to alchemize for you to be able to get to the next level. And that's why this pattern is happening, because it's life trying to show you specifically something that you need to see before you get to the next level. And this thing is trying to show you is the parts of your conditioning, your programming, your subconscious patterns that actually cannot stand at the level you're trying to get to. So right now you're a person, you want to have the most success, have the deepest relationship, have deep intimacy, hot sex with your woman. You want to do all of that stuff. But life is trying to show you that if you continue with the patterns that you picked up and the conditioning that you picked up from your family, money doesn't grow on trees, you're not good enough, you were the shy kid, someone disconnected from you and you felt bad and you went into your life and said, I am going to be as successful as I can so they would know what they missed. So I'll make them pay. If you have those programs, life is trying to say, hey, brother. Until you change that, you cannot step into the frequency that you need to step into to get the reality that you want. That's why this is happening. And if you don't remove these things, you just can't get there. Jordan, who I told you who had his patents, right? 400 grand a year, could never crack it. And this could be 10K for you, it doesn't matter. Huh? When he changed his patents, when he understood the conditioning and he cracked it, within 6 months, he made $6 million. 6 months. I've seen this kind of stories numerous times. And I don't want to just make this about money, because it's not about money. It's about relationships, about your life. But it's just giving you a number so you can understand how much life is trying to give it to you. But you are in your own way because you haven't let go of the conditioning that are actually stopping you from getting there. And that's what we're going to do now, because the next question is, what does it take to break the pattern? This is a point where I fundamentally disagree with 90% of the stuff that's out there, especially in spirituality, in personal development, all of this stuff. A lot of it is nonsense, because on the one hand, you have the men who only talk about strategy and tactics and hustle harder. And on the other hand, you have the spiritual nitwits who simply just go into manifest, be in your heart, it's going to come. It doesn't come. I spent over 12 years trying to figure this out. It doesn't come. Most of the stuff on Mind Valley doesn't work. They only work when you get into the field of applied energetics, where you have the ability to move fast in your life, to execute as a man, but also work on the energetic realm, because once those combine, you merge 5D with 3D, your life accelerates. And this is what we're doing here, applied energetics. So to help you understand what it takes for you to get to that next level, that high level, and to be able to sustain that, I need to introduce a concept here where you want to think about this thing like a helium balloon. What dictates how high that balloon can go? Is 3 things. 1 is the material that makes up that balloon. 2 is the content of the balloon, the actual kind of gas. 3 is the environment that the balloon is in. The material, you can think about this. So you have this concept now. You can think about the material as your base programming. And this is the process I took these 500 men to that changed their life. You can think about the material as your base programming. The stretchiest material out there, one of the stretchiest materials in the world as we know it, is actually just pure rubber, latex. And that's something very interesting, because most of the stuff that you see of the plastic and the different balloons that you see, because they cannot use latex because it's a finite resource, they put so many things inside of it to make plastic and to make other versions of it that are just not as stretchy. But the natural thing has the most stretch. And why is that important? Because the higher the balloon goes, the more it has to expand. And the bigger the capacity it has to expand, the higher it can go. In your life, the more you can expand, the higher you can go. Let's come back to purity. The content of that shell of the balloon of your life, the base programming, when it's not pure, it's not as stretchy, it is brittle. And so it can't go as high. Which means if we go back into the point of the core thing that's stopping you and causing the quantum loops to happen is your conditioning, is some of the shame loops, the guilt, the people-pleasing, the nice guy tendencies, not saying what you mean, all of the things, overthinking, that stops you from operating from your pure frequency. Those are the things that are actually causing you to be brittle as you go higher and higher. And that's why you crash and you come back down, and then you get another balloon and you pump up and you crash and you come back down, and it loops and it loops and it loops. But if you can allow yourself to go back into your own pure frequency, the very thing that you are made of, the pure latex of you, you have the stretchiest material in the world that allows you to go the highest. And there's something really beautiful about how that's programmed inside of you, because that's what you're made of. And so the work I took these men through was core number 1, clear. How do we clear the very things that we have picked up that are not ours? And how do we do it very fast? That's part of the process. Because the moment you can clear that very fast, the moment your capacity increases, the higher you can go. That's why some of them made the most money they ever made, had the deepest connection with a woman they ever did, because they cleared that. So that's the first thing. You have to clear that. You have to go deep into that. As a man, it is your job to do that so that you can go extremely high. I have not seen a man, and I have worked with billionaires who have not done this, who've been able to go really high. The second thing is to the core content of the balloon, because that's the second thing that dictates how high it can go. Why is that important? Gas, the type of gas, the type of content. For you, in your own body, that means your nervous system. Can the gas withstand the expansion? Does the gas want to expand to that level? Can your nervous system expand to that level? Why is this important? Because your nervous system is constantly broadcasting information out into the field. In the same way as the gas goes up and it starts to expand, it's pushing out into the field. If your nervous system is contracted, which 90% of men's nervous system is, if your nervous system is contracted in hustle and fight and effort, then you would always be contracted when you go high. You wouldn't even be able to expand to your full capacity, and then you would crash. That would cap the level of height that you can reach. And so nervous system capacity is extremely important. And this is where things like breath work comes in, stilling yourself, reprogramming what you respond to, changing your patterns with women, allowing yourself to face, when you're a nice guy or the person who doesn't want to say what it means, allowing yourself to face the danger and alchemizing that in your body. Sexual work, extremely important here, guys. And we're going to talk about this in other videos. Sexual work, to be able to hold your own sexual energy, that is nervous system capacity, which is connected to how much you can push that layer of yourself into the world, how much you can push it out, because your nervous system is constantly broadcasting a statement to the world. The question is it broadcasting a statement of effort, or is it broadcasting a statement of truth and power and flow and ease? The third thing that dictates how high that balloon can go is what? The environment. Let's go back to Jordan. One of the things that Jordan mentioned when he was in the process with me was, he said, whenever I made the money, he spent it with friends, with family. 9 times out of 10, those people were not earning as much money as he was earning. So A, his nervous system couldn't handle the money. He had to expel it. It was too much energy for him. And he expelled it with his environment. If he had the right environment, they would have told him to slow down. They would have helped him keep his money. They would have helped him go to the next level. He didn't. It spoiled. If you do not change your environment and get very clear about that, your ability to step into the next level as a man just wouldn't happen. And that was the case here. And that's what you need to be focused on. So I've just given you 3 things. The shell, the purity of your base programming, then the core content, your nervous system and the signal you're broadcasting out into the world. Remember, guys, this is applied energetics. I know because it works. And the third thing is your environment, because that's the amplifier. That takes you to the next level. That allows you to have the conditions to keep the money, to grow, to get bigger, to go deep in relationship, to get every single thing that you want. And this was the process that I took the 500 men through. And I've been able to give you some tactical things here, some tactical things that you can use to implement in your life, where you should be able to pause this video and go, in the last 3 years, what cycles have I repeated in business, in relationship, with friends, with family? Where have I gone back and forth? That's your pattern. Then you have to ask yourself, what program, whenever I crashed, what showed up? Did shame show up? Did guilt show up? That's pointing you to the very thing that you need to remove so you can step back into pure frequency and ascend. Then you have to go into nervous system capacity. Do you get nervous when you're asking for money? Do you get nervous when you're pitching to a client? Does something feel off? Are you afraid to go deep into intimacy with a woman to really show yourself? That's it telling you your nervous system is not able to handle that frequency. Have you mastered your sexual energy where you're not out there ejaculating every other week? Can you hold that much energy in your life? Because the amount of energy you can hold in your nervous system is connected to how much money you can make in your business. It's connected to how deep you can go in your relationships. It's connected to how you can lead. Everything you want to attract in the material plane must first be attracted and held in the energetic plane. This is a law. This is applied energetics. And finally, your environment. Who are you surrounding yourself with? You should go very quickly, which is that even if you just leave this video by identifying one person that should no longer be in your life, that's a win. Because your environment dictates how high you can go. Remember, guys, this is applied energetics. I'm going to run another process very similar to what I did for the 500 men. If that is something that you want to get involved in because you want to hit the stratosphere and get to the next level of your life, and you don't want to have to force and use 25 freaking funnels and systems and strategies and stuff to get there, or 25 strategies to connect with a woman, and you actually just want to bring that into your life, then go to the link in the description. There should be something there where you're going to be able to at least join the wait list, because it's going to go very quickly, for you to be able to start accessing this thing in a way that I promise you've never seen before. If that's interesting for you, go through. Something is coming out. Nonetheless, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. This is applied energetics, and I'm going to give you every single thing that I've used in my intimate life, in my sexual life, in my business life, in my own personal life to pull myself from being a cleaner to where I'm at now. Open air, in an amazing city, enjoying my life and just going into flow. Those are the tactics. This is the channel. It's all about you and what you do from here.